Ali Shamkhani. Ali Shamkhani was one of the key aides of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He was Secretary of the Defense Council. He was someone who was actually looking after the negotiations with the United States of America as a backroom boy, Secretary of its Defense Council, handled defense, 70 years old. He's been neutralized. Mohammad Pakpur, the main commander of the IRGC, and the IRGC is seen as the sword arm of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. We are being told that Iran already had a plan B in place, the next in command ready to take over given those tasks, but Israel says they've neutralized 40 top leaders. Mohammad Shirazi is one of the key names. Why? Because Mohammad Shirazi was the head of the military bureau for over 40 years. As you look at these images of destruction that has taken place, I also want those images of the top leaders who've been neutralized to be put out. Saleh Asadi was one of the top intelligence leaders who was neutralized. Again, Saleh Asadi was one person who was almost constantly with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, giving him pinpoint details of intelligence inputs that were coming in within the country and from across the world. Ali Shamkhani, Secretary of the Defense Council, killed. Mohammad Pakpur, head, the man you see on your television screen, head of IRGC, killed. Mohammad Shirazi, head of their military bureau. Saleh Asadi, senior intelligence officer. Aziz Nasirzadeh was the defense minister of Iran, Brigadier General Aziz Nasirzadeh, and he's the one who was playing a key role, Sandeep, in getting countermeasures in place. The Iranian missiles, the silos, all of them, where would plan B, next phase of attacks, take place? He was the one who was organizing that. He's been neutralized, Sandeep.
Well, absolutely, Gaurav. And they've started this campaign. The US and Israel have started this campaign with a massive organogram of all the leaders that they need to take out to collapse the regime of Iran, or to weaken it to such an extent that any uprising could bring that regime down. And the target, as you mentioned correctly, Gaurav, has been the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Council, or the IRGC. Now, the IRGC is a very interesting organization. It reports not to the Iranian people, but to the party. It reports to the supreme leader. It is the military of the Islamic Revolution that was set up in 1979. It is very distinct from the Iranian armed forces, or the Artesh, which have been there for several decades now. IRGC only reports to the supreme leader. It is in that sense, it is the army of the revolution. And that is what the US and Israel have been targeting. They've been going after all the IRGC leaders, the top leaders of the ones that you're flashing on screen right now. All of them in the hope that the IRGC would be weakened to such an extent that they would not be able to operate, and most importantly, not fire the missiles. The IRGC controls all of Iran's drones, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles. The IRGC, the aerospace force, directly controls the missiles and drones. So this is a way of collapsing the IRGC's ability, Iran's ability to launch ballistic missiles, cruise missiles. So this is a very interesting game that we are witnessing, Gaurav. The fact is that these decapitation strikes, if they continue, could seriously impair the command and control of the IRGC, disrupt their ability to launch more ballistic missiles to a point when, Iran would be completely defenseless, vulnerable to more air
But
strikes.
Iran also has a couple of aces up its sleeve, Mayan, and would that be a cause for serious concern, not just for Israel, but for the entire Gulf region? Because Israel may have the Iron Dome, Israel may have the David Sling, and if I may, Israel now has the USS Gerald Ford aircraft carrier battle group off the coast of Haifa with its best air defense system, and Abraham Lincoln has the sword arm to strike, but then the Gulf region does not, and this is where Gulf countries become very vulnerable, man, and that would be a cause for grave concern for them.
Yes, and it is a cause for great concern. I want to start by just saying, even as I've been waiting for this, for this next question, we've had two more sirens, two more areas of sirens wailing in Jerusalem, both in southern Israel, and a drone that was just intercepted over Eilat. And certainly, there is concern in the region. As we know, Iran has already targeted the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, accidentally, what I understand, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, etc. And there is collaboration. You have to remember that back in April and October of the previous years in 2024, that we band together in order to stop those massive barrages against Israel by Iran. And the understanding is that we are working together, again, the United States and Israel, of course, in very close coordination, but also with our regional partners, the Abraham Accords countries and the others, in order to be able to stop those drones. I can assume that we have been able to help those countries as well. And some of those interceptors are also available in some of those countries. It's not only Israel that has protection, but certainly we are much more attuned to this, and the other countries are not.
He was Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He became a cleric at the age of 11 and began wearing the clerical uniform, which includes a turban and a long coat. While he played with other children, he was often mocked for his traditional clerical clothes. At 18, he traveled to Iraq to study under prominent clerics, but due to his father's health issues, he returned to Iran and continued his education in Qom. At the time, Iran was a monarchy ruled by Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, also known as Shah, which means king.
Who says that my people are demanding the democracy that you have?
In Qom, Khamenei, who was in his early 20s, began studying under the guidance of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, a high-ranking cleric who preached religious convertism and strongly opposed the Shah. Ruhollah Khomeini and his followers perceived the Shah as a puppet of the US. They believed that the Shah prioritized Western interest over Iran's sovereignty and Islamic values. During the 1960s and 1970s, Khamenei began spreading his teachings by opposing the Shah's rule and his Western-focused modernization policies. He became actively involved in political activism against the Shah's regime. He took part in distributing anti-Shah pamphlets and giving speeches. And because of his activism, he was arrested 6 times, tortured, and kept in solitary confinement. At the time, the opposition was not limited to religious clerics. College students, workers, and merchants also joined together against the Shah. This movement grew into widespread protests and strikes across factories, markets, and universities. The mass uprising eventually forced the Shah to flee Iran in January 1979. This led to the Islamic Revolution and the creation of the Islamic Republic later that year. Now, the Islamic Republic refers to the system of government where leaders are elected with Islamic principles and laws based on Islamic law. So at the time, Ruhollah Khomeini became the supreme leader and he made Khamenei part of his government. Before the revolution, this was Iran's flag. It showed a lion with a sword and a rising sun behind it. This symbol had been used for centuries. It was a royal symbol for Persian strength. But after the revolution, the Iranian flag was changed in 1980 with a sword-shaped symbol. It forms the word Allah. The following year, in 1981, when Khamenei was 42 years old, he was delivering a speech in a mosque when a bomb exploded next to him, crippling his right hand for the rest of his life. Behind the attack was an opposition group that opposed the Islamic Republic's leadership after the 1979 revolution. That same year in 1981, Khamenei became the president of Iran. And then when Ruhollah Khomeini died in 1989, Khamenei was chosen as his successor and became Iran's supreme leader at the age of 49. He gained control over the armed forces, the judiciary, state media, and partial control over parliament, elections, and state-run businesses.
ما از هیچ کس نمیترسیم. ما قدرت و توانایی لازم را برای دفاع از حقوق خودمون همیشه داریم